the
Right.
diaspora channel, and that's absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? I've been in a situation like that where I was supposed to be married, not with my husband now. I was supposed to be married, but we were living two twin individual single lives. He was single and I was single. You know what I'm saying? We were just roommates. And to me, that's not healthy. You know, if you're really, really looking for love and companionship with two people together and they're both going their separate ways, that's not going to produce the healthy, outcome that you're looking for. I realized that as a single person, I was out there on one engine. I call it, when there's a plane going around and the plane can fly sometimes, but it doesn't have the double engine. I realized that when I got with my husband, it became rocket fuel because we combined each other. With us two people, we became one and we took off like a rocket. We've accomplished so much within the short amount of time that we've been together. We've been together some years now, but just because we became on one accord, we decided to love, we decided to cooperate with each other, we decided not to be petty, we decided to look on the bright side of things, we decided to go after what we knew was in store for us. But when you're living two separate lives and you're single and you're not together. You're really not together, and the energy that you could be putting into your dreams, your aspirations, your purpose, your business, or whatever, you're spending that much more energy trying to chase somebody who's not even with you.
That's right.
So I decided within myself at that time, I said, you know what? I say, I'm married and this ain't going nowhere. I said, let me take my chances and I'll go out and I'll be single. At least if I go be single for real, I take a chance to run into a person who we can combine powers and we can become this atomic bomb.
That's right.
But long as I was wasting my time, and that's exactly what I was doing, I was wasting my time in a relationship, in a marriage that was going absolutely nowhere.
Absolutely. And when you get married, you must understand, man, that you become one. You're no longer, an individual. And if you come like the sister was talking about, Queen, that was wonderful what she stated, because when you have a single mindset, you're going to end up single. That's just the bottom line. Some people, they get married, unfortunately, for the benefits. They just like the benefit of being married.
But what is that? Expand on that.
When you have a wealthy spouse, you know what I'm saying? Or a famous spouse, in some cases, or a person that has a prestigious position. And some people are really just in a relationship due to who the person really is. Like, what I'm saying? If I was a movie star, think about this. All these women and men alike, do all this hollering and screaming and everything for these men. But why wasn't these women doing that when they weren't famous?
True.
Where was all these women at? You know what I'm saying? When Tyrese was in Watts, and you know what I'm saying? Where was all these women hollering at then? You know what I'm saying? I had to holler at the Chocolate Brothers. You know what I'm saying? I got to show the Chocolate Brothers. You know what I'm saying? But where were they at? You know what I'm saying? Where were they at? They was ugly. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't even worth these women time. But soon as these brothers, acquire something in life, and become this public figure, this icon, now they want to get on the wave and start riding. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm trying to say. So some people, it's all about the benefit, man. About who the person really is.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. For me, my motto was, I don't care how many letters you can have behind your name, whether it's PhD, TD, HD, whatever the letter is. And I don't care how many numbers you have in your bank account. If you are not the one for me, then you were just not the one for me. I'm not a gold digger, you know what I mean? And things like that. Some people get with you just because you got a platform.
Yeah.
Some people get with you, just like he said, because you look like you got money, some of them, and or because you successful this, allegedly successful this and successful that, and then that marriage comes crumbling down, and then you want to blame marriage. Well,
that's right. That's right.
Well, you
Men
did
too.
not search out your spouse the way that you should have searched out your spouse.
That's right, men too. And I've heard, man, let me tell you something, man. I knew a young man when I was in Virginia, stationed up there, man. And the young man was telling me that, you know, he wanted to get with this woman because she had all these things. To be frank with you, I never heard a brother talk like that. To be honest with you, it was actually a shock to me, to be frank with you. And I mean, he sounded like a woman, you know what I'm saying? And no disrespect, I'm just saying that, you know, it's kind of traditional. Well, if that's what you want to call it, but you know what I'm saying? That's true. You know what I'm saying? But it's more so traditional for a woman to be a homemaker, not a man. You know what I'm saying? So this brother was talking like he wanted to be the homemaker. You understand what I'm saying? You know, I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? You know what I'm saying? And so some men too, unfortunately, you know, they look for a woman to be their mama. And that's why some women don't want to get married too, because they get tired of actually, you know, being in the position of a man's mother. And she feel like more so she in a relationship, you know, as a parental relationship rather than it being a marriage. And so some women, they get tired of that because of our men's boyish ways, our childish ways. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to her crib. You know what I'm saying? You know, and things of this nature. You know, the terminology that we even use and whatnot shows the type of mindset that we're in. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was our ancestor, Dr. Francis Ferris Wilson, that was talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Like even the very terminologies that we use shows the type of mental faculty, you know what I'm saying, that we in. And so our women have a hard time with that because a lot of us, you know, we look at them as sex toys. You know what I'm saying? Rather than a queen, and you know, and putting her on her throne, and it's because of, and I know some people get mad when I say this, but it's just the truth. It's because of the way gangster rap, you know, gives the imagery of women, you know, and things of this nature. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes men don't value the woman, you know what I'm saying, because of the way she carry herself too. And so that's the reason why too, sometimes a man don't want to marry that woman, is because she don't have the characteristics of a wife. You know what I'm saying? And to be frank with you, sometimes a man and a woman alike can be high-minded about their character as it relates to where they stand at as being marriage material. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they're not marriage material. You know what I'm saying? All because of the way that they think. You know what I mean? And that's what disqualifies them from that. And then when that man or that woman meets a mature man and woman, then they really come to find out where they stand. You know what I'm saying? They find out that I'm not what I thought that I am, because now I met this man and this woman, you know what I'm saying, that has a high standard and one who does have the characteristics of being a spouse and who does know what they want, who's not playing these childish little games like, you know, they back in the sandbox in high school, you know what I'm saying, playing these popcorn and bubblegum games, you know what I'm saying, like they're little children. You know what I mean? You know, and they don't have to have their hand held. So a lot of times a man and a woman are afraid to deal with a man and a woman that is marriage material because they don't know how to deal with it. They're used to being with somebody who has a low standard. You know what I'm saying? And that person challenges them for them to step it up in their life, to come off of welfare. Not knocking them. I'm just saying I understand every woman's situation and men's situation not the same. I'm just saying, you know, you should want more for yourself. And sometimes some people are comfortable in their situation and they don't want to move out of that situation because it's familiar with them and they're afraid to move outside of what they're familiar with.
Will the black community be better off if more couples were married?
I can answer that. You say no?
I wouldn't necessarily say that because it's not marriage that you have put like this. It has to be a mature, and I have to say this time and time again. It's not enough for a man and a woman to be in a household together if they are both broken. They have to be whole in order for that marriage to be whole. And I know, I'm telling you what I know, man. I'm telling you from personal experience. You know what I'm saying? I was in the house where both were married. Okay, I was in a situation where it was a marriage, but both of them were broken. You see what I'm saying? And because of both of them having issues in their life, there was a faulty foundation in that relationship, and the only thing I seen was chaos. You know what I mean? So it takes two mature people that are spiritually grounded, and also it has to be destined. Some people don't understand that, man. You know what I'm saying? Believe it or not, some people are not meant to be in your life. Even though they're a good person, it's not that they're a bad person. It's just that they're not the ones that's destined to be in your life. And I've been through that before. So it's not enough just to get married. They need to be the right fit. And some people are not tailor-made in the universe to suit somebody's life. And that's why they don't fit well.
Well, I'm going to take this from a different angle. As you know, we're married, and it's okay to be married and don't totally agree on everything. He's his own individual, I'm my own individual. But when we get together, we click, we agree where it's very important. I would say that in the Black community, about 70% of the women that have children have their children as single Black women. You follow me? And a lot of the other communities, they are married. Now, when you have a single woman raising kids by herself, that's only one income. For that particular household, which sometimes allows that household to be at poverty level, under poverty level, or barely making it. But if there's a two-parent system in that household, you can get somewhere quicker. It's almost just like what I said about, being on the end as an individual, and with the couple, when you're together, you can go further. You know what I'm saying? You have more money. You're supposed to, at least. Some folk, they stop off to the strip club before they make it home. But anyways, when you have a two-person parent or a marriage household, there's more income there. And you're able to do things more. Your living, your, what do they call it? Your standard of living, begins to come up, et cetera, et cetera. So I believe that it's beneficial in the Black community that we do have two-parent households. We have, a system in the household where we're helping each other to get up. Other than that, I got to take it back a little bit too. A bunch of single, mothers, and they're not making a whole lot, then there's an issue. But I do realize that right here in America right now, the Black woman, she is the most educated in America. So some of them have, better jobs. They may have a bunch of student debt, but some of them have better jobs. And in some of the cases, they do make enough money that could cover a two-parent, household. But I think it's better and beneficial that we have both parents in the household, or a mother and a father, or what have you. I mean, they may not be the parent to all them children, but that we have them in the household in order to bring the Black family up out of the gutter where we're at right now.
And then, Miss Amari, do you think some women, their expectations when it comes to marriage are too unrealistic?
Absolutely.
Can you expand on that?
Absolutely. I believe that some people, and I don't want to even get into Christian women. I don't even want to go there, but I am. But anyway, some women, I don't know what type of fairy tale did they read, or if some of them actually been around married people. I don't know who told them some of this stuff. But marriage is not a man just doing for you all the time and you not doing for yourself. A man is not breathing for you because you don't want to breathe for yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you got emotional issues, you need to put them in check. Yes. That's your issue.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I feel that it's wrong for a woman to project those things onto a man. He got to be there holding your hand and rubbing your head. And if he don't rub your head this way, he don't love you. Then next thing you know, you in depression. And while you're in depression, some other man talk to you. Next thing you know, you cheating on your man. And I'm gonna put it to you real. A lot of these women are not faithful. I don't care. I'm just putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that, you know, the expectations are unrealistic to a certain extent. If you don't have a grasp or a hold of yourself, if you don't love yourself enough to know, you know, that my husband can't do this for me. This is something that I have to do for myself. You know, or my spouse or whatever can't do this for me. You know, this is something I have to do myself. You know, if you don't have a grasp on that, there will be a serious problem.
That's right.
And you want me to talk on the Christian women?
It's up to you. I got in here short. Go ahead.
Now, you know, I myself, I was a minister. I have a bachelor's in Christian education, and I was around a lot of single people in the church or what have you, and it's just astonishing, you know, at the amount of single women inside of the church because of unrealistic expectations. They can't go with this man because he doesn't shout and he can shout all over the church, or he hasn't darted the church doors, you know what I'm saying, or some type of unrealistic thing, and then you missed a good man because your pastor told you that you had to do thus and so. Some of these women can't even get a man because they have to pass him through their pastor and see if they are okay. Now, if your pastor is getting your money, your tithes and your offering, and they feel like this man that you present to them is going to stop you from doing that, I don't think you're going to get the go ahead on that. This is where common sense comes to play. This is how, when your relationship with the divine comes to play, and let that relationship with God lead and guide you to the man that you're supposed to be. I myself, I had a problem. Y'all, I might have been rebellious or whatever. I had a problem with the church because I didn't feel like they need to tell me what to do with my stuff. Yeah, that. So I had a problem. I wasn't going with anybody in the church and stuff like that, but I feel like I was mature enough to know how to choose my own spouse, and I didn't care if he was a church member or not.
All right, let's go ahead and bring Brother Fabian. Hold on one second. There we go. Fabian, go ahead, brother.
Hey, greetings, family, and greetings to the Amaris. Thank you so much for your wisdom and for being transparent and sharing your experiences. It's been great to hear.
Greetings,
and
brother.
Prince Dynast, man, I don't know what's been going on with you, man, but these past 5, 6, 7 shows, man, I really like the direction that you're going in. I respect and appreciate your growth and your open-mindedness. And it's very timely, so thank you. I just want to, give my 2 cents about marriage. And what I would say is that when we get ready to get married, in this country, there's no set cultural standard for marriage for the vast majority of Black Americans. We kind of wing it. We look at the various things that influence our opinions about marriage. We look at television, we look at family, we look at religious indoctrination, we look at social trends, and then all of those things shape our perspective on marriage. What we think it should be, what we require, what we desire. And I think we really just have to go and look at is what we think about marriage the right thing? Is what we've been told about marriage the right thing? That's right, brother. I've been looking at some of the comments, and it seems that most of the comments, everybody's coming from a self-centered, individualistic, kind of like selfish perspective. Exactly. And if that's where you come from, you are not going to have the success that you want, because when you get married, it's 2 people working together. And I like to give this analogy. If you were on an island, right, and it's just you and one other person, you and this woman, and the only way you guys are going to get off that island and get to paradise is if you work together, right? You work together, and everyone is fulfilled, and together you guys get off that island. What would you do? And I think marriage should be approached the same way. When you get with a person, you have to ask yourself, what are my needs? What is this other person's needs in this marriage for us to be able to work together to get off the island? And I don't see that we're doing that. You know, everything is I, me. And that just doesn't work in marriage. And I'm speaking from experience. Speaking from experience.
That's true. That is so true.
Go ahead.
And some of it is just sheer pettiness and immaturity. And I believe that we can really keep the divorce rate down if people decide to grow up before they get married.
And heal too, because that plays a critical piece in a person actually having a healthy relationship, because you have to love yourself first. And some people don't even know how to love themselves right. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. And then the other thing is just honesty. We have to be honest. You know, because when you go into a situation with another person,
that's true.
Normally, when you first meet someone and you're attracted to them, you're somehow interested in them, you're courting them, you put up your representative. You know, you go from this to this.
Yes.
Right? You put your representative up. True. And you let your representative do all the talking. You know, you introduce, in actuality, you introduce someone completely different.
Yes.
You know, to the person that you claim to be courting, and oftentimes they do the same thing. So when we're doing that, we're operating in deceit.
Yes.
That's true.
Really,
absolutely.
We're operating in deceit. I mean, just be honest.
There you go, brother. That's it.
Some people, when you're honest, some people may not accept who you are.
Exactly. Exactly.
Is not the one that you should be yoked up with.
That's right.
You know, if you can't do it in honesty.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. You know what I'm saying? And because now you're giving them a fair chance.
Correct.
For them to be able to make that choice about whether or not they want to go forward with you or not. Because I can't remember who the sister is that sang that song, but she said, "There's a stranger in my house." Who is this person that I'm married to now? You know, and that's another reason why divorces happen, because this person was hypocriting the whole time.
They transformed.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this, but should we allow room for growth?
Yes.
So that's another point, you know.
Yes.
Well, either they're hypocriting or they're just growing.
Well, no. We're talking about acting, because you know what we're talking about is some people that actually hide, like brother was saying. They know that they're not a good financial manager. You know what I'm saying? They know that they're not sexually disciplined enough. You know what I'm saying? And so the woman unleashes what she's really looking for. Then now he becomes that. And then he's still playing games on the side. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that she want a serious relationship, but because he has a lusting problem. He has a sexual problem. He doesn't have the discipline, or she doesn't have the discipline. They go into, oh yeah. And they're playing games, man. That's what I mean about hypocrite.
Okay.
If you know that person is looking for a one woman, you know, if they're a one woman man, and you know that that's what they're looking for, and you know she's looking for, and she's a one man woman, and she's looking for one man, and that's on the table, but you know that you know what I'm saying, you like to do what you do, but you wanna play the field and be married at the same time.
Right.
You know, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I would say also, you know, in reading some of the comments, I mean, and, you know, this is no judgment. It is your sole decision, you know, to determine whether or not you want to get married.
There you go.
If you don't want to get married,
right.
That's fine.
Exactly.
You know, I'm not saying that it's wrong, you know, or right. That's right. Your decision. But if you endeavor to be married,
thank you.
You know, then you have to. I think you need to make a list of the things that you require in a mate.
Yes, a realistic one.
You need to make a list, and when you meet a potential mate, you should have a date where you share that list, and you have to ask yourself if the person that I'm interested in, you know, has everything on this list. Great, you know, maybe we can, and I have everything on their list. Okay, looks like we might be able to do this. if there's some things that are missing, am I willing to still go ahead with this with the knowledge that the things on this list that I require may never, ever get fulfilled?
Mm-hmm.
You know, would I still be okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times we meet people and we try to groom them or change them.
Sis said pay enough paper for that.
A lot of times we meet people and we try to groom them and change them into what our idea of a good mate is. And sometimes because of our conditioning, our idea of a good mate is flawed. It's not accurate. It's, you know, maybe too much, you know. Another thing is when we talk about from a male's perspective, I always hear about losing money, assets. You know, if I get a divorce, I lose, you know, half of everything.
Exactly.
And as a businessman who has many, you know, I won't say many, as a businessman who has a few assets, I can understand how that fear may creep in. But in my mind, if I lose everything today, or if I lose half of what I have today, my acumen, my business acumen, my work ethic, I'll be able to get it back, you know, within a year or two. I mean, easy, you know, especially if I'm, you know, don't have to factor in someone else's time and feelings, et cetera, to be able to just go, you know, go back and rebuild. So I think that a lot of men should not have that fear. And I think that if you do have that fear, part of going into marriage is being prepared. And there are certain things that you should have, like a non-living trust. Some people talk about a prenup. I'm not against prenups at all. I'm not against it. You know, I think that's just, you know, one of those things that you have to deal with in honesty.
There you go. That's it.
You know, if you meet your mate, your potential mate, and you tell them, hey, you know, before I met you, I've worked hard, I've established these things, I've created these things in my life, you know, before you were there. And in the event, you know, since people are fickle, in the event that things don't work out, I don't want you taking this wealth that I built before you away from me. It's not fair. And that's honest.
There you go.
But at the same time, if you meet someone and you marry them when you don't have any assets, when you don't have anything, you don't have any wealth, and that partner, you know, I'm speaking from a male's perspective, that partner helps you build those things.
Right.
Helps you achieve that wealth.
There you go.
And for you to just want to divorce and not give them anything is going back to the beginning of our conversation where I talked about operating in selfishness.
There you go.
A woman should not walk away. A woman that has been with you and helped you build your assets should not walk away with nothing.
That's right. Wrong. Absolutely, man. That's wrong. I love that. Right? I love that. And I feel the same way.
If you are such a man, then you should be able, in my humble opinion, to be able to go back and rebuild whatever it is that you had to give to that wife. And in some cases, maybe it'll give you some wisdom, you know, if you decide to get married again, you know, how to make sure, you know, that you make your marriage work so you don't have to split any of your assets the next time. Okay. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. Don't be selfish.
Fabio,
I see you about to say something.
Fabio, let me ask you this. Did Jeff Bezos' wife help him build Amazon?
You know, I don't know their situation, but what I do know is that I don't know their situation, so I can't answer that question. I don't know. I don't know
what's
I'm sure she did.
Susan, at the same time, Susan, now I think what happened, Jeff Bezos got caught sending out naked pictures to, in fact, before I say that, let me look it up, but I think he got caught sending out some questionable pictures to another woman. And I think that woman's either brother or friend wanted to extort him because of those pictures. So I think he just came out clean. So in a situation like that, I mean, you know, it should have been in his contract before you know, when he got ready to marry his spouse, he should have told her that, hey, I got a pension for doing this kind of freaky stuff, and, you know, I may send some naked pictures out. You know,
I want to add to what
Here we go.
Nasty.
Here we go. Jeff Bezos admitted sending photos. Yeah.
not have lost all his bucks if he would have been honest.
Yeah, I want to add to what Fabian said after you get done, Dynast.
Yeah. So basically, Jeff Bezos' nudes reportedly leaked by Lauren Sanchez. Yeah, so I think, and here we go. Brother of Jeff Bezos.
He want the news. The press want the news. He want the tea.
So I think he was sending some new photos to his girlfriend, and I believe the girlfriend's brother got those news or something. It was pretty much trying to extort Jeff Bezos. You know, hey, give me some money, or I'm putting these nudes out. I mean, that's allegedly the story, but I know he was sending.
You know, he set himself up for that one.
I mean,
he set
a lot of this has to do with respect.
There you go, brother.
You know,
it has to do with
respect. You know, we've gotten into a culture. We've been conditioned to have a culture where we really disrespect our women, and vice versa.
There you go.
You know, and when they disrespect us. You know, our women are our mirror image, right? They're our mirror image. When we disrespect our women, in turn, when we give them, they give us back, right? So we started off in, you know, at different points in time, you know, not treating our women properly, and now, you know, we're getting it back. So what it really comes down to is respect.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk to, because I talk to guys about this a lot. If you have like a best homeboy, right? You know, your buddy, your road dog. What do you do for them? You know, when you guys are together, you spend time. You know, I meet brothers who have more intimate conversations, you know, about different stuff, right? I know brothers like this. You know, you might give your homeboy money. You might do all kind of stuff for your homeboy. Now you take that. You know, you show loyalty to him. You won't mess with your homeboy's girl. You know, you're there for him when he needs you, right? For a male friend. But then for your wife, who may cook for you, she's traditional, she cooks for you. She sleeps next to you every night. You know, when you get sick, you know, your wife is there doctoring you up, right? She's taking care of you, right? Sometimes, you know, if you have a woman that's, you know, that handles financials well, you know, she may be the one, you may give her go to work, give her the money, and she's the one making sure all the lights stay on, making sure all the bills get paid. You know, she's the one opening her body up to you, allowing you to enter into her. You know, she's taking your seed and giving you back a son.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
This is really your best friend.
That's right, bro.
If you go to jail, I guarantee you, if you are a good husband, your wife is going to be there to bail you out of jail before your homeboys will. I've seen that. I'm from LA. I've seen that a million times, right? So then, why is it that we give so much loyalty to our homeboys, but then when it comes to our wives, we don't show them the same kind of loyalty when they've shown that they are better friends?
Wow, my queen and I was just talking about that on yesterday, brother. That's deep right there. We literally just talked about that.
And so the thing is, we just have to look at ourselves critically. You know, we have to do a critical examination from time to time just to see who we are and what our value system is. I'm not perfect. I don't proclaim to be. You know, this is just my humble opinion. But if we treat our women better, and if we are a better example to them, because they do everything that we do, if we're a better example to them, then they will become better themselves. That's a fact. If we exercise more self-discipline and control.
That's right, brother. There we go.
Then we won't fall into a lot of the traps that we fall into by having a lack of discipline.
That's right. Right?
If our objective isn't simply just to say, you know, whatever it is that needs to be said, you know, to conquer this woman's womb, you know, to be able to go inside of her, right? Because a lot of times that's men's objective. We see something, and we're just being honest here. We see something fine, and we say, I got to have that right there. Just got to have it, right? And we go after it. But then what ends up happening is we stop using logic, we stop using discipline, and then the next thing you know, we find ourselves in a situation that's painful, that we don't want to be in. But if we would not have allowed our loin, if we would have not allowed our lust to drive us, if we would have used our mind and sat down with this sister and found out what was really in her head, what was really in her heart, then we would have been able to make a better decision, on how far we want to go with her in a relationship.
True.
And so we just have to look at ourselves critically, do a critical examination, as I said, and treat our women better. And our women in return will treat us better. I believe that.
I just want to say, I hate to go all the way back in regards to somebody was talking about taking half. Why would a man build up this and then some woman takes half? And you elaborated on that, which was very good. But what about a woman who has quite a bit and a man comes? I mean, should she split it down the middle? When I met my husband, I had things. I had houses, I had land. I had money in the 401k, and I had a lot of savings, and I had things. And when we met each other, I didn't go with him. I didn't, link up with him because of what he had. You know what I mean? I myself personally saw his courage and his integrity and his leadership skills, and I felt that it was an even exchange. So no, I didn't do a prenup, but I have a lot of female or women friends that have PhDs. They have houses, they have real estate businesses, they have a whole lot of things that they could lose, just like a man stated, if they go about a marriage the wrong way or end up picking the wrong individual. There are a lot of wealthy black women out there, and just like my husband stated, there are some men that are looking for that. Because they're looking for a successful woman, even if they're not successful.
Mary J. Blige wouldn't do that.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
Mary J. Blige.
Okay, so what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
I understand that. Yes.
If you are a woman that is wealthy, and you meet a man that does not possess the same assets or the same amount of wealth as you,
finish your point.
You need to just be honest. You got to be honest. You got to say, hey, I have all of this stuff, that I've accumulated. I have all of this stuff that I've accumulated before I met you, and human beings are fickle. And if this doesn't work out, it's not fair for me to have to give you half of it. And that's an honest conversation that you just have to have. And as a result of that, in order for me to protect myself and, the wealth that I've created before you, sign this prenup.
Right, and that's in both ways, for a male and a female. So there's no need for a man to be overly scared, if a female can't be overly scared if she possesses assets.
And let me say this too, because what brother was saying about being a successful person and things of that nature, and not getting married because you're successful, to me that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Denzel Washington been married a long time. You know what I'm saying? To his queen. You know what I mean? Both of them are successful. You understand what I'm saying? And it just don't make any sense because you're wealthy not to get married because you're wealthy. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any logical sense. I mean, no disrespect to the brother. I'm just speaking my opinion the way that I feel. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
For myself, the reason why I didn't do one, you know what I'm saying, is because I know the type of woman I'm married to. Like she said, she didn't ask me for nothing. My queen never asked me, I promise you. She never asked me, Amar, could you give me some money to pay a bill? In fact, she would tell me, I got this. When we went out to dinner or to lunch or breakfast, she pulled out her card. You understand what I'm saying? So I already knew that I have a woman that was about teamwork to make our dream work. You know what I mean? I already seen that she was building, a kingdom, you know what I'm saying, on a solid foundation. I seen the way she raised her children, and I seen how she didn't allow me to meet her children until I knew that, or until she knew that rather, I'm the right one for her. You know what I mean? So there is numerous things about her that solidified and that confirmed as well that, okay, this is the queen for me. This is the woman for me. That never even crossed my mind because I know she don't want nothing from me because she never have asked anything from me. You know what I'm saying? She never have been that way. But, everybody's situation, I'm not knocking somebody who does do that. You have every right, to do that. You have every right to not get married. But the only thing I want to do is just encourage the people who have a negative viewpoint about there's no good African women or there's no good African men. What we're here to do is to debunk that and to change the narrative about African couples. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're here to do, to show the world that we can love each other, we can get along with each other, in spite of the negative experiences she and I both had.
I agree. I see a comment here, the Diaspora channel said, you can't go into marriage thinking about how that marriage will fail. Do your homework, and once you are ready mentally and spiritually, you can get married.
Absolutely.
Now,
absolutely.
I agree with that, but I don't think that if you are a person